So I had a recent conversation with a former coworker of mine, and conversation, I use that term loosely because it was more like a comment exchange on Facebook. What we talked about in that conversation, very interesting stuff. Kind of a head scratcher for me, but also very much in line with what I've been talking about in previous videos. So in today's video, we will go over that and in some way find some value in it, and hopefully it applies to not just that person, but maybe to a greater extent people in a similar situation. So let's get into it. My name is Cody Garcia. This is the Money Paradise channel. So let me just jump into what I was able to take from this conversation that I had recently. So the person in question, former coworker, they went onto Facebook and were commenting on some issues they were having, financial issues. I'm not going to name names. They're probably not going to see this video anyways, but either way, for anonymity's sake, I won't reveal their identity. So going through some tough times now. Being a government employee right now, not a very easy gig, with the government shutdown and also people getting furloughed and possible reductions in force happening, which essentially means they're getting the chop. So that's kind of what they were talking about, not really knowing what to do in this situation and looking for outside help to figure it all out. Them, along with their partner, trying to look for outside employment or other ideas to bring in income. And as a result, people commented and offered their advice and offered possible suggestions of how to bridge the gap during this time to be able to pay those bills, meet their monthly expenses, and other ideas to kind of possibly get out of the 9-to-5 kind of grind that they so often find themselves talking about on social media. One person I can recall mentioned looking for other jobs, just applying at other jobs that were currently hiring. Just, apply wherever you can and get whatever hours you can during this time, which is a good idea, especially in the short term. Another person commented along the lines of starting your own side hustle, side business, doing gig work, like Uber Eats or DoorDash, things like that, delivery services, those types of side gig types of jobs, and trying to also get maybe paid in cash so as to hold on to more of that money and not have it be accounted for, for taxes and paying into Social Security and things like that, which it's kind of a risky proposition when you're talking about someone who currently is employed by the IRS and is most likely aware that getting paid under the table and not reporting, your income like that's a slippery slope, right? Everyone thinks they can, everyone who tries to do that, I should say, usually ends up having to deal with the IRS at one point or another because of that, because of the cash only kind of model. It's not a good way to run a business these days. Side hustle brick and mortar, you know, cash accounting, cash only accounting. Like, yeah, that's very sketchy. But anyways, I don't want to turn this video into a tax advice kind of video, because none of this is financial advice. It's just my experience. But anyways, at that point, after reading through the comments, I felt the need to offer my own 2 cents on that, which part of their response to these comments was, I also want to be able to put away money for retirement, specifically Social Security. That was their main strategy for the long-term method of saving for retirement. To which I said, probably look into other ways of saving money or investing to grow your money now, versus depending on Social Security to be able to meet your monthly expenses. Because how many people do you know that are currently receiving Social Security, are they actually able to live a comfortable lifestyle with just that stream of income, if you can even call it that? I don't know of anyone that can say that that's the only stream of money coming in that they're able to live comfortably off of, without any additional assistance, additional outside help, or even additional forms of employment or side hustles. So my suggestion was, look to other methods of investment than just putting money into the Social Security system, because you can't depend on that. People that are currently receiving really can't depend on that, you know? So this is the time to look into those things. Aside from meeting your monthly expenses, finding a way to pay those bills, your roof, the food in the fridge, light bill, whatever the kids need, you know, that stuff. Along with that, I also mentioned, yes, starting a side business, starting a side hustle, bringing in money any way you can. Don't discount those opportunities, because you never know what those opportunities can turn into. And her response to all that essentially was, I don't have a mind for business. I don't know anything else except working and going to school. That's really all I know. And so she goes on to say, it sounds nice to be able to invest in stuff, but I can't do that right now. Which, yeah, that's understandable. If there's no money coming in, you have to focus on your immediate needs. I 100% understand that. But if your main focus of concern when you're bringing it up to people is, I need to think about retirement as well, it's like, okay, that's fine. It's not a impossible thing to take care of your immediate needs while also having an eye towards the future and your long-term plans financially. There's nothing wrong with that. My problem with what they were saying was that they don't have a mind for business. They don't have any current ideas for a side hustle. They basically express no interest in learning what that would entail, or what people are currently doing to make a living off of side hustles and small business, you know, which I don't take offense to it necessarily. It's just, when people come to the community and they're reaching out for help, and then that help is basically telling them, like, this is what you should start looking into. This is what you should start looking for in terms of opportunities. Making your own opportunities is a big one, especially when you depend on a 9-to-5 job. It's like your opportunities depend on who employs you. You can't make you can't make your opportunities outside of what your job is. You can try and move up in the company. That's, you know, that's one way of making more money in that kind of cycle. But in terms of what you're currently doing in that job, more times than not, you're stuck with what you're doing. You can work as hard as you can work extra hours, you can pick up the slack in your own department and pick up, you know, whatever gaps there may be in the organization. But speaking from personal experience, it's a tough mountain to climb. Climbing that corporate ladder is a very tough mountain to climb, especially if you have no college education or any certification. If you're just ground up off the street, working your way from the bottom of the totem pole all the way up into like upper management, that's a long road. And a lot of times they don't set you up to take that path. They don't put you on that path and say, we're going to build you up to eventually, in this amount of time, you're going to be up here. You're starting from the bottom. Now you're up here because we want to build you up into someone that has a substantial career in this business. Very few times do they actually offer that plan for you. A lot of times it's just, we're paying you to do a job. That's all we want you to do. Just show up on time, do that job, don't give us any problems, and accept our meager 3 to 4% raise every year if you're lucky. And again, that's nothing compared to like what inflation is, right? So you're losing money over time by staying in that 9 to 5 kind of cycle. That's been my experience anyways. But going back to what they were responding with, you know, it was, I don't know anything about business. I don't have an idea. I don't have any sort of plan for that. And it would be nice to put money into investments, but that's just not where my head's at right now. And it was that mentality of lack that I was reading, and I was like, okay, so they're basically accepting the fact that they are unable to pursue any of these opportunities. They may even be unwilling to pursue those opportunities, even though these potential opportunities could yield more financial benefits to them than just having that 9 to 5 that they're currently looking for. And so the problem I have with that sort of mentality is you're accepting of the lack in your life. You're acknowledging it, which is part of it, but also you're very accepting of it. And I myself have been in that place where I felt stuck in my job, in my life, and I didn't see any way out of it. I didn't see a better method of getting to where I wanted to be in life. And so I resigned myself to what I was currently doing, going into work, doing the job, having it be a thankless job where you could bust your ass and work hard and be that person that never says no and is always gung-ho about helping out the team and the company, and then maybe getting a raise after a year's worth of that, or getting a pizza party as compensation for all your hard work and dedication, right? And so I myself had to find it within me to first of all acknowledge the fact that I have accepted that for longer than I would have cared to have liked to have accepted it. That way of thinking. I had to acknowledge that I chose that for me. I didn't want more. I didn't look for more. I rejected opportunities that were coming my way that could have saw for myself a bigger opportunity for more income, for more more interesting things to happen for me, you know, more aside from the income, better quality relationships, people that supported me and pushed me to do better, built me up, things like that. Better problems, you know. I that's what I needed, but I couldn't see it. And so the first step for me was acknowledging that I had accepted that lack for so long, and nothing was going to change until I flipped it on its head and said, I need to look for those opportunities again. I need to open myself up to those opportunities again. And put out a energy for myself that promoted those opportunities to come to me again, to bring that positivity back to me and that energy back to me, as opposed to just what I was pushing out to the world, what I was giving to that company that I was working for, I should say. And it wasn't easy, and I don't say this stuff lightly, like anyone can do it. It's a process. And I definitely found myself struggling with it and going through it. And I mean, the whole point of this channel is to talk about those struggles, talk about how it felt in those moments when you were just like, I know what's wrong. I just don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to pivot from these problems that I know are a problem, but I just can't find myself getting out of it. I can't find my way through it all. You know, there's something that's not helping me, or there's something preventing me. It's usually you, right? Little things, habits, whatever. And it took baby steps. It took changing little things day by day. It was really very much changing a little bit every day. It wasn't big shifts in what I was doing on a daily basis. It was just the little things that really overall turned the ship around for me. And to this day, I still struggle with stuff. I mean, to this day, I see opportunities, I can acknowledge them, and sometimes I feel like I hit a wall with them. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not ready for these opportunities, or maybe I'm not going to have enough time to dedicate myself to learn about these new opportunities. And that's okay. I mean, I can acknowledge that I can do better, but it takes time. It's a process, baby steps. The main thing is making that shift to accept those opportunities, to when you finally start seeing them around you, you can actually take action on them. That was a big thing for me. It's like, okay, now that I'm getting these opportunities again, when am I going to take that step? When am I going to take that leap of faith and just go for it? Take the chance. Even if it ends up in failure, you can still learn about these opportunities. You can still learn for yourself what you're capable of and what you can and can't do. You know your limits at that point, right? But you won't know them unless you actually go for it. So reading what this person was saying, it was very much, I felt bad for them, first of all. I didn't feel upset. I didn't feel angry about where they were at mentally, because everyone's on their own plane of existence. Everyone's trying to figure it out as best they can. And I wish them nothing but the best, of course. Maybe they do find something that works out for them so that they can climb out of their financial struggles, And I mean, I told them as such. It's like, you guys will figure it out. One way or the other, you'll figure it out, as long as you're open to those opportunities and not so easily discounting them. That's a big thing. the more you open yourself up to the opportunities, the more that you are accepting that you are in a place right now where every opportunity counts. Every chance that you get to achieve your goals, however small, counts. It adds up. It definitely amounts to the overall progress you make in your life. Even if it doesn't align with your interests, sometimes it does become a matter of, I just need money coming in right now because I need to be able to pay the rent. And a lot of people find themselves in that situation. And it's unfortunate when you find yourself in that same kind of cycle of, I'm just doing enough to get by. I'm in a job I don't like, but at least it pays the bills. And I don't fault people for being in that cycle. I feel bad for them, actually. And I guess the whole point of this is that if you allow yourself to be in the mix with these opportunities, you just never know what they can blossom into. The types of relationships and friendships that could come from it, aside from the monetary opportunities. You know what I mean? That to me is much more important. Building relationships, gaining new friendships. You just never know who these people that come into your life, what they can do for you. And again, that's just all because you've allowed yourself to accept those opportunities and not to be in that frame of mind of, I can't start a business. I can't start a conversation with people. I can't make that sale. I can't sell this product. I can't invest. When you start saying those things, you're accepting things as they are. And if you think that you can't do anything about your current situation, then you're right. If you believe that you can't start a business or a side hustle, or you never will learn the skills to obtain what you desire, then you're right. Things only start to change when you start to believe in yourself, when you start to believe that you can do those things, that you can push yourself outside of your comfort zone to achieve what you thought previously was impossible. And I'm finding more and more that as I continue to allow these opportunities to be kind of fleshed out, I'm finding more and more positive and good things about myself than when I was so quick to brush those opportunities aside because they were uncomfortable and they required effort and required more energy than I had. It really has shifted in me, that mentality. It took a while. Like I said, this is a process. And for you watching this, if that's something that you're working on or struggling with, then that's something you need to understand, is this is a long-term process. It's going to be that way until you shift that mentality, shift that focus from can't to can. Nothing's going to change. You'll be stuck in the same situation a year from now, 10 years from now. People, I'm sure, will get lucky. I mean, we know lottery winners. We know what happens with that, right? They win, sudden wealth comes in, but they don't have the plan, they don't have the right mentality, and the money is squandered almost as fast as they got it. I myself, I dread that situation for myself. I don't want that for me. I don't want to have that happen to my family. The biggest concern for me is what happens when I do come into wealth. Not a matter of if, it's when, right? When I come into wealth, will I be able to execute on the plan with that money that's coming in? Or will I squander it? Will I do what so many other people have done with that sudden wealth and squander it and lose it and never see it again and never be able to pass it on to the next generation? This, for me, is a very important part of my whole financial thesis, planning, whatever. I have to set these things up to be able to pass them on to my child, and from there instill this mentality onto them so that they can pass it on down the line, so that this family lineage can carry on past just me. There's a certain amount of ego that goes into that, I guess, but a lot of it also is breaking cycles, which I've experienced the lowest of the lows in terms of poverty. And so obviously I don't have that I don't have that glum outlook on life anymore, where I think that if I fuck this up, my kid's gonna be on the street. Because I don't have that mentality of 3 strikes and you're out. I just know that when the opportunities come, I will swing the bat. I know that much. I either win or I learn. Fortunately for me, I have really awesome people around me to support me and to help me grow and continue to build this thing that I want for myself and my family. People that are aligned with that want that for me, that want that for my wife and kid. And I'm grateful. Which, that's another part, is aside from allowing those opportunities, acknowledge what you already have. Always be grateful for the things that you do possess. The fact that I'm recording this video means I have internet, I have electricity, I have a roof over my head, I have the ability to do this. And that's something that I am exceedingly grateful for. A lot of times people lose sight of that stuff. They lose sight of the people in their lives that are so beneficial to them. They lose sight of the basics that they have. And when that starts to happen, when you start to take those things for granted, it makes those struggles that you experience that much more difficult. It's a shock to the system, no doubt. And I've experienced that in my life. And I never want to go back to that place. It's a very dark place to be in. But when you climb your way out of it and you feel that gratitude with everything that you do going forward, it makes those opportunities that much more sweeter. It makes every interaction that you have with your loved ones that much more meaningful and important and worthwhile. And I hope that in talking about this, if that's something that you've experienced personally, or even with friends or family, where they're just stuck in a loop of negativity and a mentality of lack and no real need or want to seek solutions, but just to be a victim and just to accept their fate, you got to get out of that. That's a black hole. That type of person is, for me, a black hole. They are looking to suck in as many people as possible into that mentality. And I escape it whenever I encounter it. I don't get sucked into it as bad as I used to. And so you align yourself with the right people who don't suck you into that negativity. They help you, they propel you forward. And for anyone that is still in that space, start to look at those opportunities again and really flesh them out, really see them to their ends, good or bad. Find out for yourself what you're made of with these opportunities. Don't write them off and say, well, I've seen other people fail at it, so therefore it's not worth it. I've seen people on TV talk about it, but that's not for me. I've seen other people succeed, but they probably had people backing them and they probably came from money. All those things are meant to discredit the hard work that those individuals put in. The time, the energy, the time away from their families to build something from the ground up. It's so easy to criticize those people and just say they've been given everything, so of course they succeeded. I have nothing. I don't have what they have. I could never have what they have, so therefore I'll never be as successful. And you see where that ends up, right? You just get people stuck in that cycle and they never amount to anything. They don't ever achieve a fraction of their goals in life, and they end up being lost to the winds, lost souls in a lot of different ways. And in a lot of ways, it is frustrating to see. I can admit that. But more times than not, I feel sad. I feel sad that some people just get so beaten down in life that they just can't see the light because they're always looking down. They're never looking up, And it sucks to be in that spot. It definitely is. As I mentioned before, it's not easy to climb your way out, but take a step forward. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And find out for yourself what you are made of. That's it. Know your limits. Find your limits. Get out of the fucking comfort zone that you find yourself in. And that's not just about your finances. That's just about living your life, man. You feel bad about sitting on the couch all day and not exercising? Get up. Pump out some squats or some push-ups or some jumping jacks. Go for a damn walk. Do something about the things that you feel shitty about. Do what you can to address the problem that you see for yourself, that you can identify. If you can identify it and you can actually contribute to the solution, then do it. Make an attempt. Take the shot. That's all I have to say, really. As long as this video is. But I don't really care that these videos go long. I definitely feel like this video was more fleshed out than probably any video I've done before. And as you can see, this is a new setup for me. I got some new lighting. I put some money into this channel, invested in the future of this channel. And I don't know where it leads. I just know that I'm going to continue to talk about what I want to talk about. That's the advantage of being a small channel and not being beholden to any sponsors or big communities or anything like that. I'm not pigeonholed into talking about anything. I can talk about what I like. Yeah, and that's something that motivates me to continue doing these videos, to continue to talk about these interesting, weird life struggle kinds of content. It's so easy these days to rely on programs and AI and things that generate content for you. It's much more difficult to flesh out an idea in front of a camera, or in my case, a very tiny camera on a phone, and not have that other person to talk to on the other side. I feel like my best ideas come in conversation with people. So when it comes to a camera in front of me, I feel like I'm not as eloquent or well thought out as, say, having a conversation with a friend or someone that's willing to take the chance on having a conversation. But in time, these things will get better. These videos will get better. My content is my art. I can see that. I can see that this is my art, and I'm going to continue to make it. I'm going to continue to put paint on the canvas, and whatever it is, once it's out there, it's no longer mine. It is yours to do with what you will. So that's going to do it for this video. And of course, I appreciate your support as always. I want to be very intentional with what I say in these videos, as I always try to be, but also with what I want for this channel. I need your support. I welcome it. I embrace it. I'm open to it. Every like, every subscriber that I gain from this channel helps me get this channel to a place where it's not just a hobby. This can be a passion for me. And with every view, with every new subscriber, with every like, which I of course encourage you to do, please like and subscribe. You're helping this channel grow. You're helping this channel become a community in of itself. Because again, when I started this channel, I thought about making this crypto focused. And as time has gone on, I've definitely shifted away from that. And while I love to talk crypto with people, it's not something that I'm very knowledgeable about. And it's more times than not something I usually would rather not go into the weeds with people about. Sometimes it's fun and interesting to talk about, but a lot of times I just like to talk to people about other stuff. It's more like it's like nerding out with people about comic books or favorite sports team or favorite drink, favorite dish, whatever. Everyone's a nerd. That's my opinion. Every single person on this planet is a nerd. So yeah, fleshing out these ideas with you guys, it's really fun. It really is. And I'm looking forward to continuing to have these kinds of conversations with you. With that being said, I'm going to call it a day. Get this posted for Sunday. I like the idea of having videos on Sunday. It's a good day for people to just enjoy a coffee and see what I've been up to. You know what I mean? I like the idea of that. Yeah. Either way, whenever you get to watch this, hope you're enjoying your time, your free time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Peace.